We're going to generate tons of images here. I'll show you a trick on how to create many images if we wanted to get multiple different images from the same prompt. It's not complex, but it might be useful for some. Here's what we'll do. Copy all of this, use Ctrl to drag and select, then Ctrl+C and Ctrl+V and move it all down here. Now we have the sampler with everything that comes after it. We'll need to connect each cable to its corresponding place. As you can see, everything is color coded and it's straightforward. For example, connect VIE to VIE, model to model, and so on. Remember to connect positive to positive and negative to positive. Sometimes it might appear that I've connected them backwards, but now we can adjust the options as we like. For instance, if we wanted the image to be more creative with fewer steps and use a different algorithm, we could do that. We'd click Generate Images, and it would create the first one. In this case, I've specified a Labrador, and automatically generate the second. This can be useful if we want to use two different algorithms to generate these images or vary the processing time. As you can see, this one's a bit worse. The dog looks pushed, honestly. This is likely due to the time settings and increased creativity. It all depends on what you want. You can experiment, make changes as you like, and use this as many times as you want, because the AI will generate different images each time. You can use the same prompt and it'll keep generating endlessly if you want. This is an interesting technique to generate many images at once, something you can't do with other AI image generators. How to use images to generate new ones? First, let's understand how AI image generation works. Basically, it changes pixel by pixel based on set steps. In the case sampler, we have a video explaining this to reach the final image. This means there's a generation process, changing pixels gradually. So depending on the number of steps, the image changes more. More steps, closer result. Fewer steps, further. For example, I have this image generated with 35 steps. This is just an example, but to help you understand, if I take this image and set it to only 6 steps, you'll see it generates an image that's not as well formed because we haven't given time to generate pixels. It hasn't had that process. Going further back in this image, you see a jumble of random pixels. This would happen with any image we upload. The image would have a generation process which we can move backwards or forwards through, using it to our advantage. How will we do this? Let's start by double-clicking on the screen and selecting Load Image. It'll load a sketch, but you can use any image you want. Real photos, sketches, anything. Then we'll double click again and select Scale Image to Total Pixels. Why are we doing this? We're doing this to avoid scaling issues. When generating this image from another, we'll link them together. In Scale Image 2, we'll use Laxos as it's the best for quality and performance. Set megapixels to 0.5. As you can see, we now have this image uploaded in the program, but we still need to connect it to the entire process. If I apply changes now, it affects the whole process, but this scaling isn't applied to our new image. So we need to ensure this image goes to the latent image. It's currently just an image, not a latent image. We need to convert it to latent format. It's like having an HDMI cable and wanting to use old connectors with 3 colored wires. You'd need a converter for that. To go from that connector to HDMI, which is what we'll do, we'll basically drag image and click encode. This will convert the image, the pixels, into latent space. Once converted, we can start playing. The setting we'll adjust most to make this image resemble another is the denoise setting, which essentially sets a percentage of how much the final image will resemble our input image and prompt. It determines what percentage of the prompt to use. Now it would start generating that image. Of course, the sampler, CFG, and steps all affect the image too. It's very important. As you can see, it's generating the image, but it doesn't look anything like this. Why? Because the denoise is at 1. This means we've told it not to resemble this image at all. So let's change that. We're using denoise and changing the prompt to make this girl look like Jennifer Lobb. As you can see, I've set it to 0.80, and this is what it's generated so far. It doesn't quite look like Jennifer yet, so we'll keep tweaking it. Keep in mind this is a sketch, so it won't be photorealistic, but we can make it resemble her in a drawing style. As you can see, I finally achieved a balance between the uploaded image and the prompt I've given. With a denoise of 0.93, the image uses the reference while making the main girl look like Jennifer Lobb. Here's the initial image and the final result.